Hey guys, welcome back to Photography for the Rest of Us, a place for people who love photography. My name's Cari, and this is Frightening Friday, which means we're getting witchy. That was perfect. Hey guys, welcome back to Frightening Friday. I am so excited about this shoot because we have our very own Teenage Witch. Say hi to the people, Sage, waving back there. And we are going to learn how to balance candlelight with our ambient light, which is the light that's around us. And then we're gonna add an off-camera flash so that we can really get our subject to pop. I see so many witch photos going around this time of year, and they're awesome and beautiful and creative, but a lot of times because they're trying to get that candlelight to work, their subjects just kind of are bleh in there, right? They may be beautiful, beautiful subjects, but the lighting is kind of just flat on them, and I want to show you how to like bring it up a notch. So we are going to start and we're going to layer this. Now there's a lot of layers and there's a lot of moving parts, but I'm gonna talk you through it as we go. And as long as you stay with me and take some notes, I think you're gonna get it, and I think we're gonna get there, no worries. All right, so first off, we are going to take a picture just like this. I have this set up with some beautiful candles and everything with sage in the middle of it. And I've done what most people do when they go to do a candle set, whether it's witches or not. I've darkened the room, and we're actually in my little tiny mini studio in my basement. And I've darkened the room, and I only have the candlelight, and I'm gonna take a shot like that so that you guys can see what that looks like. There. Here we go. And I am going to expose for what my camera tells me is a good exposure. So I'm going to open up to 2.8, and my shutter speed is at 160, and I'm at a really, really high ISO right now. Woo! All right, so as you can see in that picture, it is really freaking bright, right? Now, the reason that happens is because your camera wants everything to look the same, and it basically wants everything to look daylight. So when you're trying to shoot moody pictures, a lot of times what I see is people just underexpose their images. And while that can work if you get lucky, there is an easier way to do this. So first tip is I want you to change your metering mode to spot metering or single metering, okay? So what that means is that you are going to be able to choose exactly where on the image you are metering, and your camera is telling you what the proper exposure is. With spot metering mode, you also need to be using single focal point, and you need to be manually selecting that focal point. Now, I have done a small video on my shooting manual about both of those things, so I'm going to put those links down in the description box if you want a little bit more information. But basically, I want you to be able to move the little box around in your viewfinder so that you can pick what you are choosing to get an exposure on. And then what you can do is set that exposure and then move your little focal point to your eyeball of your subject or to whatever your subject is, so that that's actually what's in focus. But what I want to do is meter on these candles. So I'm switching my camera to spot metering mode. I'm going to meter on the candle. I'm going to set my settings, and then I'm going to move my focal point up to my subject's face and take the picture, and let's see how that looks. All right, so I'm on that candle that's right there in the front on the pumpkin, and it says that I can go way down on my ISO. So now I'm at like 4,000 ISO, f2.8, 1/60th of a second. And there we go. All right, so if you look at this shot, right, the candles look really, really good. But you can hardly see my witchy subject. And a lot of times, even whether it's outside or inside or wherever they're doing the shot, this is where a lot of photographers end. And so I want to show you some tricks if we take it to the next level to really make things pop. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna turn on the lights. So because I don't actually have lights in here or a window to open because I'm in the basement, I'm gonna turn on this LED softbox. I am only using it for ambient light. If you have lights in your house or a window to open, or if you're standing outside, all of that will work as well, okay? So turning on my light. Now my light is daylight balanced, and if you look now, it doesn't look as cool on the video, right? Like, or the candles don't look as awesome and all that. But what I'm gonna do is I'm going to meter again, and I'm gonna see what the exposure is for my candle now and see if I can get my ISO even lower. All right, so now my camera wants my ISO to be at about 1000, which is completely reasonable ISO if you ask me. I know a lot of you guys are scared of an ISO. Come on, focus. I know a lot of you guys are scared of having a little higher ISO, but I'm not, because I know my camera can handle it. All right, ready, set, yeah. Ah, so much better. So a better balance between the candles glowing and my subject. In fact, I would even go to say that I could go a little bit lower on my ISO and get a little bit moodier shot. But you can definitely tell that the candles are glowing, and she looks decent. I mean, she's a pretty girl, so she kind of looks good no matter what. But I think we could make this a lot more fun, because you see how kind of flat and bleh it looks, right? Like, it doesn't look bad. It's not a bad picture, but we can make it better. So the next thing we're gonna do is switch our white balance, and I wanna go to incandescent light. So that usually looks like a light bulb, kind of like this on most cameras. Now, if you shoot with a custom Kelvin balance because you have a higher level camera, cool, go into the blue range, right? And play with that. But if you don't, which most of us don't, right? When you're working with hobbyist level cameras or just beginning cameras, or you're just trying to figure it all out, just go to the picture of the light bulb by pushing the WB button somewhere on your camera and turning it to the little light bulb with the lines coming down just like that, okay? All right, so let's see what that does to our shot. Oh, so much cooler, right? So now it looks dark, right? Because Hollywood has taught us that blue is dark, right? Or the dark is blue. And we know that's not really the case, but it kind of gives that feel. But you notice how the candles are still white. It's because they're actually yellow, right? So now we've got these white candles with this blue mood. And the only problem I see at this point is I have a Smurf witch. And she's adorable, but I'm not liking the Smurf vibe. So we're gonna change that, and that's where this off-camera flash comes on. I know I've got a curtain right here that's from an additional set that I had on, or that I had set up before, so ignore the curtain, but don't ignore the light. So I am using a strobe because that's what I have in my studio, and I didn't want to drag extra stuff out. This will absolutely work with a Speedlight. All you need is your Speedlight, a stand, and then something to attach your Speedlight to your stand, right? We've talked about that in other videos. And then a trigger so that which I don't have on my camera at the moment that I'm pointing at, but a trigger, okay, so that you can attach them and then your camera can talk to your off-camera flash. If you have any questions about that, I will be doing videos on that coming up. I've had a ton of requests from all of you amazing people, so I am working on it. I'm making videos as fast as I can. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna set up my off-camera flash on a very, very low level because I wanna try and balance it with that candlelight and give her some pop and let her glow just a little bit. So I'm gonna turn on that low level. If you are using a Speedlight, that's like 1-64-ish. If that's too dim, then go to the next lower number. So like 140, so I don't even remember on those because mine work in like 1 through 10. That's what you get when you get more expensive gear. You just work with numbers 1 through 10. But lower the number, 1 dash lower number is a higher amount of light. So 1-1 is the brightest your Speedlights will go. And then 1-64-ish, or maybe even 128 is what most of them go to as far as the lowest power. So you wanna go in the lowest power and then kind of creep up from there, checking to see if you like your exposure. So I've got it on a pretty low power. Let's try that. See if it's on. Hi, good morning. Okay, so I'm not changing any settings. All I did was turn on the flash. Hopefully it is staring at your face because I did not line it up. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Whoa! Okay, so look how much she's popping, right? She is popping. We've still got some light, but that light is going everywhere. So if you look at that, that's crazy bright, right? Like, oh my God, that's never gonna work. This is where we get into the fun tools. So this is called a snoot, okay? It's basically a funnel. So if you're using a Speedlight and you don't have a strobe and you don't have cool things like snoots laying around, what I want you to do is get a piece of cardboard or construction paper or like thick black paper of some sort, and I want you to make yourself a funnel. Just a circle that fits around your Speedlight or your strobe that funnels the light towards where you want it to go, all right? So I'm gonna add the funnel and I'm gonna add the snoot, which is a funnel, and see how that helps me control that light so that it's not just kind of bouncing everywhere, all right? Okay, so the snoot is on. Let's take a shot. One, two, three. All right, you see how much better that is? Like how much the light is now just focused on her face and not all over compared to that. So I'll put them up side by side like this. See how the light is more contained. What we're doing basically is just funneling the light into the spot that we want it to be, all right? So she's popping out from the background. The candles still look pretty good. The ISO is nice and low. We're doing good, but we still have a Smurf witch. So let's fix that. So what we're gonna do to fix that is we're going to add CTO gel. We're actually gonna add all of the CTL gels I own, or you're just gonna stack up a whole bunch of yellow filters or yellow gels and tape them to the outside of your Speedlight or your strobe or whatever you're using, right? So what this is going to do is it corrects for the blue that we've put in there, and it'll make her skin tone natural like what the candles are. But I actually want to go a little warmer than natural because I want the idea to be that she's being lit by the candles. So that's why instead of just one CTO gel, I put in all of them that I own so that there's a lot of yellow, so that rather than going just to white or just to normal skin tone from the blue, we're actually going to go into the warm tones for that light that's just hitting her face. All right, so let's try that. Okay, so let's try that with the gels. 1, 2, 3. Oh, see where we're getting there? See where we're getting to? It looks great. You could even go just a tad bit darker if you want. Maybe I'll try one at 800 ISO. I'll say that the way I'm planning on editing these, having them a little bit brighter is probably good because it gives me a little bit of wiggle room. But let's try one at 800 ISO just to see the difference. Yeah, maybe we'll stay there. I like that. Okay, so just a little bit darker. Nice, right? All right, so this looks good, right? I think we got there. Shall we add one more element? Yeah, why not? We're already at like a 17-layer sandwich, right? Why not make it a little bit harder? So I'm gonna add fire. We have artificial candles now. I'm not gonna talk about how many of them there are because my husband might see this video and understand how much Amazon shopping I've been doing while he was away. But we are going to add a real camera to our giant pile of a real candle to our giant pile of artificial candles to make it look like that's what's lighting her face. So let's try that shot real quick, and then we're gonna go over what we just did, and then I'm gonna have some fun with it. If you're enjoying this, please hit the like button, hit the subscribe if you haven't already. I'm having a great time with these videos, and I like the encouragement. You guys have been really, really supportive, so thank you. All right, let's try it with a candle. Fire. All right, bring it around to the side of your face just a little bit. There we go, and a little bit higher. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Nice, see? So the candle shows up. Now, a lot of times it wouldn't show up, right? But it looks like, but her face is still really well illuminated. So I'm gonna just real fast turn off that strobe so you can see the difference, right? And of her popping out. Okay, it's subtle, but do you see between these two photos how different it is, where it looks like there's light coming to light up the side of her face from that candle? And it just makes it a little more believable and a little less flat. So I love the way these photos are turning out, and edited they're going to be even better. But let's do a quick review over everything that we went through, because I know it was a lot, right? This is a very layered, multi-level shoot. And honestly, you could absolutely get great pictures if you're just exposing for the candlelight and the candles and that kind of stuff of your subjects. I'm not saying that you can't. What I'm saying, your ISO has to be way higher in order to get nice photos with dynamic lighting and interesting shadows and all those things. All right, so this is what we did. All right, we started out with a beautiful set with nice lit candles. You don't have to start with that many. You could just have one, or you could have a couple. You could be outside, inside. Like, this is just where we are because I'm extra. Ask my family. So what we did first was we changed our camera's metering mode to spot metering, meaning that we were picking the location that the camera was metering from, because when you put the spot meter on something that's very light versus something that's very dark, you're gonna get a different exposure reading, and we wanted to expose for the cameras. If you didn't already have your camera on focus point selection, like your manual focus point selection, you also changed that. And if you don't know how to do either of those things, I put links to videos that I've already done in the description box below, so check those out. After we exposed for that candle, we realized, well, we need way more light, so we added light. Now this step might be one that you can skip if you are not in a dark basement like I am. So if you're outside or you're somewhere where you can just open the windows, just do that and then expose for those candles. Next, we added an off-camera flash to really focus on our subject. And in order to make that flash really, really focus on our subject, we made sure to put that funnel or that snoot over the end of it so that it was just on her face and not lighting up any of our background or anything, because we wanted that spooky mood. And then we made sure that our camera's white balance was on incandescent lighting, or just a blue if you were working in your Kelvin zone, so like the lower numbers. And so that we could get the blue hue, and we added a yellow gel or a CTO gel, a lot of CTO gels, to our off-camera flash, so that her skin tone was still a normal color or even a little bit warmer color, even though the background shadows were nice and blue. All right, that was a lot, right? This one was a lot, but I hope that I broke it down for you so that if you wanted to, you could really recreate this. All right, so I am having so much fun with this set that I'm gonna keep shooting. But what I would love for you to do right now is hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, the notification bell, because new videos come out on Tuesday and Halloween videos come out on Fridays in October. And make sure that you hit the like button if you liked this video, because I certainly liked making it. If you have any questions or comments or thoughts or ideas or suggestions, put them in the comments below. I really do read all of them, and I'm really having a great time doing these videos. Between assignments with COVID as a travel photographer, I am very grounded right now and feeling a little stir crazy. So this is really a great outlet for me, and I'm really appreciating all of you guys. I'm gonna shoot a little bit more, and I'm gonna add the fog machine and hope the smoke detectors don't go off. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I can't wait to see you on Tuesday. Bye!